if you love Porsche or internal combustion, you're probably thinking this is just a clickbait video. It can't possibly be true. However, investors may come and say, well, mate, you're wrong. We disagree. And that could be the reason why Porsche's share price has fallen so drastically from around 51 euros to 39. That's a big difference. Porsche as a company is in trouble. Make no mistake about it. Porsche's global profits have fallen by 42% this year. That's primarily thanks to the fact that in China, its sales have been obliterated. Now, they haven't ended. I mean, people are still buying Porsches in China, but not that many of them. And that's meant that a lot of Porsche dealers have gone underwater. In fact, Porsche are claiming that their dealership network has been changed or adjusted by 30%. The truth is, these dealerships have actually gone bankrupt. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Don't get me wrong here. It's not just Porsche feeling this heat. There's numerous legacy automakers. Jeep as an entire company went bankrupt in China. Mitsubishi left China. Hyundai, they still exist in China technically, but yeah, they're not doing so great there either. Many automakers, their sales, General Motors sales have fallen by 50%. Volkswagen Group sales have fallen by about 50%. BMW sales last month fell by 30% in a single month alone. It's happening across the entire legacy automotive industry in China. But for it to happen to a premium dealer like Porsche is something many people said would never happen. They said the Chinese were too brand focused. They love their brands. They love their luxury consumer products. And there's a lot of people there. There's nearly 1.4 billion people. Surely it wouldn't happen to Porsche, but it has. What has happened? Well, Porsche are reporting this like they have just made their decision themselves to get rid of hundreds of dealerships. But the truth is, that's not how this works. Now, Porsche say that in a bid to reduce costs after losing enormous sums of money, they're reducing the size of the dealership network in China due to declining sales and, well, the fact that many of the dealerships are, well, many of these dealerships can't sell the Porsches they have. So, is this actually true? Well, yeah, I mean, kind of. If you want to report it that way, I guess perspective is one thing, right? You could be in a car crash and someone drives in the back of someone else and someone else says, no, it was the person in front's fault, he braked too hard. You could be one of those people, couldn't you? But the truth is here, these dealerships have gone underwater. In fact, I reported this last year that there was literally hundreds of dealerships. I believe it was considered, the media in China said it was more than 2,000 dealerships went bankrupt. So these dealerships simply haven't been able to pay the bills. And that's why I reported a month ago, they were furious at Porsche because Porsche vehicles weren't selling, and they blamed Porsche for that problem. Now, Porsche has been struggling in China. Through the first half of this year, its sales fell 33% from 43,832 units to only 29,000. That's a worrying trend for Porsche. And considering the fact that Porsche makes more money selling cars in China than it does selling vehicles in Europe, that's a pretty big problem. Of course, Porsche is also seeing declining profitability in places like America and Europe as well. Now, Porsche are saying, oh, well, it's because of EVs. They don't sell that many EVs, but it's because of EVs apparently. So now they're planning, right, to re-engineer their electric vehicle models and make them have internal combustion as well. Now, Porsche thinks in its genius boffins working in the German laboratories or whatever they are, it thinks that seriously, if it does this, it can save its bacon in China. Now, has no one told Porsche that the reason their vehicles aren't selling is because 90% of them are internal combustion? Hang on a minute. We'll save ourselves by making even more with internal combustion. Genius. 50% of all cars sold in China now are electrified, either plug-in hybrids or fully electric. And Porsche's like, well, brilliant. We'll make more internal combustion. This will save us. Awesome. You cannot make this stuff up. It's absolutely effing mental. I mean, honestly, literally, that's what they said. A day after this was reported, Porsche come up with this plan, published worldwide. We'll make our EV models ICE. That's great. That's how we'll get ourselves out of this pickle. Porsche have blamed its declining Chinese sales on tense economic situations in the country, as well as the local focus on value-oriented models. In other words, people in China don't have enough money. Now, if you are one of those people who subscribe to these Chinese channels where everything's bad's going on in China and everyone loves it, it's feeding their narrative. It's feeding the story that they want to believe, isn't it? It's that kind of bias where you watch what you want to believe and it confirms your worldview, right? Then you'll think, well, Porsche is right. I mean, it's just because car sales must be going down in China. No one's buying cars anymore. No one's buying no one's buying high-priced goods in China anymore. Guess what? That is 100% factually wrong. In fact, automotive industry sales have gone up this year in China versus last year. In fact, the average price of the cars being sold in China in the automotive industry this year is around 6% higher than last year. Funny that, isn't it? The reality is here, it's not necessarily about value or getting a bargain. It's simply the truth that Porsche doesn't make the most technologically advanced vehicles, and that's what consumers want. They're thinking to themselves, okay, I want to pay $200,000 for a vehicle with old Volkswagen Group technology. Yeah, no thanks. That's what's happening. China is an incredible challenge, not just for Porsche. The firm's chief financial officer, Lutz Meschke, said, anyway, in the future we can no longer assume that China will return to where it was for European players. In other words, there's nothing we can do. Let's just give up. Now, if China is so difficult, why is Tesla doing so well there? Tesla sales have grown by 8%. They sell really only 2 cars there. Neither of them are really all that technologically advanced in comparison to their competition. They're not really. I mean, full self-driving is not yet approved in China, right? So they don't have any real groundbreaking difference between Tesla and any other electric cars. The Model Y is about to be replaced because it's pretty old, right? Everyone knows it's about to be, and yet their sales have still grown by 8% this year. Here's the thing. The Model 3 and the Model Y are both electric. Porsche, take note, making more internal combustion won't fix that problem. Anyway, Porsche went on to say that economic woes in China have limited spending on luxury goods and said the brand needs to review its product lineup, its budgets, its costs, etc. All with the aim of increasing our flexibility and resilience even further. We're not giving up on the Chinese market, but we need to face the facts. You do. Porsche has confirmed it will significantly cut its Chinese dealership network. It can't cut them, right? Porsche signs a contract with these dealerships where they can't just get rid of them. That's illegal. These dealerships would take Porsche to court. So Porsche are flat out lying by saying, we're just going to cut our dealership network. I mean, imagine if Porsche said that to you guys in America. If Porsche said to half the dealerships in California, oh, you guys can all piss off now. We don't want you anymore. I'll see ya. Bye-bye. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. They have a contract, right? Porsche will have to pay them out big time, or they've already gone bankrupt. They've already disappeared. It's probably a combination of those two things. So Porsche say it anticipates its vehicle sales will fall even more in 2025 compared to this year. It didn't say how many dealers will be forced to close, but they said that the brand's cost structure will be adjusted for annual vehicle sales of around 250,000, as opposed to the more than 300,000 vehicles it sold in recent years. Now you can see here why this matters, right? Why Porsche sales, if Porsche sales fall by 30%, they don't sell that many cars to begin with. So it's a pretty large number. Mercedes-Benz is facing similar challenges. So is BMW. Mercedes local sales have recently dropped 17% from last year, and profitability has fallen as well significantly. China accounted for roughly 1/3 of Mercedes sales, but around 50% of its profits. The Financial Times notes that margins at the brand have also suffered as it has had to offer incentives to encourage local sales. And to be honest, in some cases, some of these luxury car manufacturers have sold EVs and internal combustion vehicles at discounts of up to 50%. 50%, that is astronomical. Guys, I actually love the Porsche brand. I think the Porsche Taycan it's a really nice car. Is it cost competitive with other Chinese cars in that segment, like the Xiaomi SU7, for example? Of course not. Absolutely not. Is it a good car? I think it is. But could Porsche do better? Yes, absolutely. But you know what Porsche are doing? Most of Porsche engineers are focusing on what? Internal combustion. It's true. The majority of Porsche sales are internal combustion. They're focusing on things like the new GT3 RS or the new GT2, the new Porsche 911 Turbo, right? There are minuscule differences between this year's models of internal combustion versus last year. But Porsche invests hundreds of millions of dollars on those very small, minute details and differences that, to be honest, most consumers would not even know about. They're wasting money, in other words. They could be transforming the company, but instead, they're going to transform their EVs to be internal combustion. That'll save them. Thanks for watching.